Hello, Facebook world and YouTube. I'm popping up for the first time this year just to have a bit of a yarn, bit of a new look in the studio. So I thought I'd just pop up and have a bit of a conversation because it's been a while. Tonight, I want to share with you a little bit about Ironman and why it's important to me. I mean, this is me getting back into it. So for the year, so I'm sort of just trying out a few things and sharing some thoughts. New Year started, right? And every year I sit down and put together my targets. And a good friend of mine, she asked me, why is it that you do these ultra events? Why is it that you do these things that really test you physically? I thought, it's a good question. Maybe I should share with people why I actually do these things. Um, I'm a massive fan of doing Ironman, Spartan, things like that, ultra marathons. I'm sitting here today with all the different medals that I've collected over the years, and it's great to reflect on why these things are important. I'm going to share a little story with you tonight about how I got involved in Ironman, why it's become so important in my life. Not only that, but running ultra marathons and the Spartan trifecta. It started way back in 2013, yeah, when I was in Frankston, and I just loved the place. And this amazing event called Ironman was in Frankston, came to Frankston. I'm like, wow, I want to check this out. I want to go and see what this is all about. But rather than actually just stand around and watch, I want to actually get involved in it. I want to be a part of the atmosphere. So I chose to volunteer. So 2013, I chose to take 4 days off work and volunteer for Ironman. Now, a lot of people will volunteer and they volunteer for the day. Not so many people offer to volunteer for the whole 4 days. So when I got down there, I got down there and it was only myself and one other person. We just had to get there and set up all the bike racks. And day one was just about setting up all the bike racks down along the creek there in the car park, and it was epic, right? It was just nice to be a part of something that was bringing something fantastic to Frankston. I'd heard about it, I've seen the Hawaiian stuff, and I'm like, oh, I really would like to be a part of this, at least to understand it anyway. So day two comes, and we're setting up the big tent, we're getting everything ready. And I'm actually going quite well with the team, and I'm helping them out and getting to know them quite well. So much so that they gifted me the opportunity to run the transition tent on race day. The fourth day was packing up and getting everything out. So day three came, and I had the opportunity to work with a lot of volunteers in the transition tent and actually help support the Ironman team. And oh my God, what an epic feat by humans that I saw on that day. I got there super early in the morning. And if Anna Bullard she sees this, she'll remember the day because that's the day that we met when I had the opportunity to have all the volunteers and get them in the right place and get amongst all the athletes. But I tell you what a humbling experience it was. Here I was at in the transition where everyone's nervous, putting all their bits and pieces inside the tent, getting ready to race, and we've put it all away, and then everyone heads down to the waterfront and heads out for a 3.8K swim. Amazing, right? Just stop, watch the start of it. This electric atmosphere kicking off. Everybody heads out in the water, so I head back to the tent and just start getting ready, make sure everything's okay. What I saw was people coming in off the swim. The elite athletes come through pretty quickly, and that was amazing. Seeing these super fit people just come running, come full breath, 3.8K swim, smashing it out, coming out through transition, getting changed, getting on the bike, and then taking off. There's so many wonderful stories in here, but there's one I want to share in particular. There's a guy that came out of the water, he was a Japanese fella, and it was really late. It was cutoff was just about to be marked, and he's coming, he's shivering, and he didn't speak very much English, and he's sitting there, and we've got the foil around him, we're holding him there. And I've walked up to him, time's almost done, and I've looked him dead in the eye, and you've gone, you've come all the way here to get this done. get off your backside, get on that bike and get out. He goes, hey. And it was just the most surreal thing. Anyway, he takes off and he was the last competitor to leave the bike for the bike leg. And I was so proud of him for actually getting up and going. Anyway, didn't think much else of him for a little while because transition was going, people coming everywhere. Anyway, as all the bikes are coming in, it's getting a bit late. There's this Japanese guy that comes flying in. Right? He's coming about 50th from last at this point with this huge smile on his face. It was epic. He's come at me, he's run up, he's giving me this big, massive hug. I was like, oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. And I just like, at that moment, I really fell in love. Like I just seen all these amazing athletes and people just, trying to do the best for themselves and give this a real, yes, it is, Greg. This is definitely live right now. So give this a red hot crack. And that was extraordinary. But seeing this guy that was done, who was out, go and ride 180 Ks, come back in and give me a massive hug. I'm like, oh my God. My only regret from everything I did on that for those 4 days was I didn't go to the finish line to see him finish because I was just exhausted by the end of the day. We started at 4 a.m. We went through to roughly midnight. But this energy and this effort from this guy, like clearly he struggled out in the swim because he's Japanese. I'm presuming he'd only ever swum in a pool. I didn't think he'd swim out in the ocean. So just an extraordinary effort. But what happened from there was I got this real inkling into what it takes to achieve something, what it takes to have a crack. What does it take for someone to actually do an Ironman or even want to do an Ironman? Anyway, I decided that, I'm going to learn a little bit more about it. So the next day before we went down and packed up, we packed up and finished the day. And then I went into Jones Cycles in Frankston. If you know Jones Cycles, been there for a very long time now, Giant Cycles. Greg Jones, an amazing guy, was in there working. And I've walked in there and I've gone, g'day, mate, how are you? He's hobbling a bit. I go, what's wrong with you, mate? He goes, oh, I did that Ironman yesterday. I said, what? No way. He goes, yeah. And he showed me his medal. I've gone, you did that yesterday. Keep in mind, he was late 50s. He's a guy in his late 50s at work the next day after doing an Ironman. That was the most impressive thing to me. I could not believe that he got up and went to work. I asked Greg that day. I bought a bike off him immediately. I said to him, mate, can you help me? Can you teach me about this? And then he goes, yeah, no worries. I'll happily take you out there, which opened up my love affair into, cycling and training. But I'll never forget the first ride we went on. And if Greg ever watches this, he will laugh about this. He takes me out on a bike and I'm riding along. We get up to a hill, right? We get up to a hill and he's just gone. And me, I was just complaining like no tomorrow all the way up the top of it. Late 50s is not old. I agree with that completely. That is definitely, grab that. And so late 50s is not old. 100%. My idol, Pete Dwyer, only just retired from World Triathlon in his 80s. So don't worry, 50s and all. Hey, Riley, how are you, mate? Good to see you. But anyway, so we've ridden up the hill and but he was the most patient man. He was just trying to teach me and get me into the cycling. And lo and behold, I did, What was the most amazing thing from that was Ironman actually gifted me an opportunity to become an Ironman after working for them for 4 days. They were very happy with the effort I put in and they offered me a ticket and I took it. 12 months later, I did my first Ironman. And in a time of life, that was a very difficult time. Those who know my story, or not necessarily mine, but Marcella's story, she had an accident that year and she had to learn to walk and talk again. And it was a really tough time in our life. It was a time in which we pretty much lost everything. Um, and I don't believe I would have got through it if I didn't have Ironman to concentrate on outside of everything else, life. And that's been the case in my life on many, many times where things have gotten really tough. And I sit here today with the medals in my life, like I've got, there it is, the actually Ironman from Frankston, like with 6 months training. And if you ask Dave Henke what he thought when I turned up to the pool and I did my very first lap, he goes, "What are you here for, mate?" He goes, "I go Iron Man." And the laugh that came out of him was hilarious. But then he realized I was serious. That was just epic. We still talk about it. And I love that man because that man taught me how to swim. He got me through, a 3.8K swim. And I sit here with all these medals from Ironman. It's not that many. There's only like 3 halves and the full. But every single one of those Ironman events that I've done, even the one I did last year, after ripping my bicep off completely, and then doing it with Steve Baker, and raising some money for something that I'm so passionate about, the business of smiles. That's how the tattoos got on my calves, is by doing that. But it's what is possible that I take away from every single one of these events. Some of my hardest times in my life, I've actually signed up for events that really push me. Why? Why do I do that? I do that for my personal growth, so that I know I can get through tough things. Like I got through an Ironman. What else can I get through? Well, I got through a 56K run with a broken metatarsal in my left foot, which I did 3 days earlier. What else have I done? David Goggins challenge, 4x4x48. Running 100Ks, Great Ocean Road, 60K on Great Ocean Road. Like it's pretty hilly. But why? Why do these things? Why constantly try and sign up? This year I'm going to sign up for Geelong Half and actually do some training for it. Take some socks again. What an epic adventure that was last year, taking the socks out. But I do these things because in times in life when stuff gets hard, I've built and earned some resilience to the things I need to do. I've built and earned some stamina in life that when times get tough, I can keep going. I've got more in my tank. I know I have. I've done that before. I've pushed through that before. If you listen to any of David Goggins, it's about eating the cookie. When you're in tough times, you go back into an experience you've had in life and remember that you've got through that, and you eat that cookie and you let that fuel you run. There's a time in my life when it caused a lot of pain. Every single ultra event that I run and I hit that wall, and you inevitably do, I go back to that one pain point, to that point where that person created more pain for me than I've ever experienced. And I eat it. And I'm like, nothing is going to get me to stop this. Nothing. I'm going to get up. I'm going to go because nothing is going to stop me. I've been there. I'm hurting. I've got more. I can do more. Every single time I get through one of these events, it just gives me more reason to do more. I'm sharing this tonight because I think it's important. I think it's important that every single one of these medals down here, this one in particular, right? Spartan trifecta. That's an epic adventure. I was going through a tough time again. I grabbed 2 mates and we worked together and we did the Spartan trifecta. We signed up for something that was tough to do because life was tough. So let's get through this and get through it together. This year, my targets, Geelong Half, Port Macquarie Full. Then I want a really big event to run in October. And I set these targets. Sometimes I get them perfect. Sometimes I don't. It doesn't matter. I'm having a crack. I'm having a crack for me. I'm happy to share the journey. I'm happy to share the trials, the tribulations, and everything else that goes on. But I just love the fact that every time I do one of these events, I get excited, but I don't just get excited about doing the event. I get excited about the people I do them with. Every single one of these medals has got a story of connection and togetherness that just fills my heart. Dion, Bully, I got Pete, Chris McTaggart, like I've got the plethora of people I did Ironman with, the Geelong halves, Stewie, you and I, the the two bays, the Aaron Slight and a few others, meeting the three beards. The stories that come from these epic adventures is just extraordinary. It's my first live, just come back for the year. You're going to see me pop up a bit more this year. I'm going to put a little bit more content out. I'm going to really put some quality out this year. If you listen today, thank you for listening to me dribble. I'm just getting up and having a bit of a yarn. What are your targets this year? What are you going to do to grow? What are you going to do to strengthen you? Greg Murlow popped up in the comments. We went and did a breathwork session yesterday. That was extraordinary. Really deep work. Stepping into the uncomfortable opportunity of self in order to gain more. I love it. I love what we're going to create. It's going to be an exciting year, people. I'd love to hear what your targets are. Anyway, have an amazing day, and I'm sure you'll see me soon. Take care. Now, where is that button? I think they've moved it from where it used to be, which is a bit of a problem for me.